Introduction. Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley, is a groundbreaking Gothic novel that tells the harrowing story of Victor Frankenstein, a scientist driven by an insatiable desire for knowledge and glory. Through his tragic tale, Shelley explores themes such as the dangers of unchecked ambition, the ethical implications of scientific discovery, and the profound consequences of isolation. This analysis covers the novel's key events, characters, and themes, providing essential insights for achieving top marks in GCSE English literature. Volume 1, The Creation of the Monster and the Beginning of Victor's Downfall. The novel opens with a series of letters written by Robert Walton, an ambitious Arctic explorer, to his sister Margaret. Walton's letters introduce the novel's frame narrative and establish the themes of ambition and isolation. He describes his determination to reach the North Pole, driven by a desire to achieve greatness and discover new knowledge. However, his tone becomes increasingly bleak as he recounts the loneliness of his journey and the perilous conditions of the Arctic. During his voyage, Walton encounters a nearly frozen Victor Frankenstein, whom he rescues and brings aboard his ship. Victor, weakened and on the brink of death, begins to tell Walton the story of his life, hoping it will serve as a warning against unchecked ambition. Victor's narrative begins with his idyllic childhood in Geneva, Switzerland. He describes a loving family, with parents who cherished him, and an adopted sister, Elizabeth Lavenza, whom Victor calls the beautiful and adored companion of all my occupations and my pleasures. Elizabeth's presence in Victor's life is significant, as she embodies the warmth and love of home, contrasting with the cold, dark path Victor eventually takes. Victor's fascination with science begins at a young age, sparked by his reading of ancient alchemists, such as Agrippa and Paracelsus. Although his father dismisses these outdated texts as sad trash, Victor remains captivated by their promises of hidden knowledge and power. When he later attends the University of Ingolstadt, Victor's passion for science intensifies. He is introduced to modern scientific principles, which ignite his desire to discover the secrets of life itself. At Ingolstadt, Victor becomes obsessed with the idea of creating life from inanimate matter. He studies anatomy, chemistry, and the process of decay, working tirelessly in secret. His ambition blinds him to the moral implications of his work, as he becomes consumed by his desire to achieve what no one has ever done before, to play God and create a living being. Victor's hubris is evident when he declares, "A new species would bless me as its creator and source. Many happy and excellent natures would owe their being to me." After months of feverish labor, Victor succeeds in animating a creature made from assembled body parts. However, the moment the creature opens its dull yellow eye, Victor is overcome with horror and disgust at what he has created. He describes the creature as a wretch, with yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. Victor's reaction to his creation is one of immediate rejection, as he flees from the creature in terror, abandoning it to fend for itself. Victor's abandonment of the creature marks the beginning of his downfall. He falls ill from the shock and guilt of what he has done, and his close friend Henry Clerval arrives at Ingolstadt to nurse him back to health. Henry represents the humanistic and compassionate side of life that Victor has neglected in his pursuit of scientific glory. Under Henry's care, Victor slowly recovers, but the shadow of the creature looms over him, foreshadowing the tragedies to come. Volume 2, The Creature's Story and Victor's Increasing Despair. The second volume of the novel shifts focus to the creature, offering readers a deeper understanding of his experiences and emotions. After being abandoned by Victor, the creature wanders the wilderness, struggling to survive in a world that recoils from his monstrous appearance. The creature's narrative humanizes him, portraying him as a sensitive being who initially desires only companionship and acceptance. The creature's early experiences are marked by pain and rejection. He describes how he first discovers the world through his senses, learning about light, sound, and touch. However, every encounter with humans ends in fear and violence, as people flee or attack him because of his appearance. This rejection deeply wounds the creature, who reflects, "I had never yet seen a being resembling me, or who claimed any intercourse with me. What was I?" Seeking refuge, the creature finds shelter in a hovel attached to a cottage inhabited by the de Lacy family. From his hiding place, the creature observes the family and gradually learns to speak and read by listening to them and studying their books. The de Lacy family, consisting of the blind father and his children, Felix and Agatha, are portrayed as virtuous and kind, though they live in poverty due to political exile. Their loving relationships and hardships contrast starkly with the creature's own lonely existence. The creature comes to admire the de Lacys and hopes to befriend them. He dreams of revealing himself and being accepted despite his appearance. However, When he finally gathers the courage to approach the blind old man, the sudden return of Felix and Agatha leads to disaster. Horrified by the creature's appearance, Felix attacks him, driving the creature away in despair. This moment is a turning point for the creature, who realizes that he will never be accepted by humans. Filled with anger and sorrow, he blames Victor for his misery and vows to take revenge on his creator. The creature's declaration, "I am malicious because I am miserable," encapsulates the novel's exploration of how suffering and rejection can drive one to evil. The creature's revenge begins with the murder of Victor's younger brother, William, in the woods near Geneva. The creature encounters William, and upon learning that he is related to Victor, strangles him in a fit of rage. To further torment Victor, the creature plants a locket belonging to William on Justine Moritz, the Frankenstein family's servant, leading to her wrongful conviction and execution for the murder. Victor's guilt over these events is profound, but he remains silent, unwilling to confess his role in creating the monster that caused them. Haunted by guilt and grief, Victor retreats to the mountains, seeking solace in nature. It is here, in the desolate alpine peaks, that the creature confronts Victor and tells him his story. The creature demands that Victor create a female companion for him, arguing that he deserves happiness and that he will leave humanity in peace if his demand is met. The creature's plea, "You must create a female for me, with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being," highlights his longing for companionship and his deep sense of isolation. Reluctantly, Victor agrees to the creature's request, fearing further harm to his loved ones if he refuses. He returns to Geneva to begin the new project, but is plagued by doubts and moral dilemmas. Victor travels to the remote Orkney Islands to work in seclusion, but as he nears completion, he is overcome with the horror of what he is about to do. He destroys the female creature, fearing that the two monsters could breed and create a new race of beings that might threaten humanity. The destruction of the female creature enrages the monster, who vows revenge, promising, "I shall be with you on your wedding night." This ominous threat fills Victor with dread, but he continues with his plans to marry Elizabeth, hoping to defy the creature's prophecy. Volume 3, Tragedy and the Inevitable Doom. The final volume of the novel chronicles the tragic events that lead to the complete unraveling of Victor's life. After destroying the female creature, Victor returns to Switzerland, but his life is now dominated by fear and paranoia. He marries Elizabeth, but on their wedding night, the creature's threat is realized. While Victor nervously searches the house for the monster, the creature slips into Elizabeth's room and murders her. Victor discovers her lifeless body and is overwhelmed by grief and guilt, having lost the person he loved most. Elizabeth's murder is the final blow that shatters Victor's spirit. His father, Alphonse Frankenstein, dies shortly afterward from the shock and sorrow of losing Elizabeth and William. With nothing left to live for but vengeance, Victor resolves to hunt down the creature and end his life. Victor's pursuit of the creature takes him across Europe and into the frozen Arctic, where the novel's opening frame narrative reconnects with the main story. Throughout this journey, Victor is driven by a single-minded desire for revenge, but his health deteriorates as he battles the harsh conditions of the Arctic. The creature, who seems to taunt Victor by leaving clues to his whereabouts, leads him further into the icy wilderness. In the end, Victor's body and spirit are broken, and he collapses on Walton's ship. Before dying, Victor recounts his tragic story to Walton, hoping that it will serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition and the pursuit of forbidden knowledge. His final words express a complex mixture of regret and unresolved bitterness. Seek happiness in tranquility and avoid ambition, even if it be only the apparently innocent one of distinguishing yourself in science and discoveries. After Victor's death, the creature appears on Walton's ship, mourning the loss of his creator. The creature's final speech is a reflection on his own suffering and the consequences of Victor's abandonment. He expresses a deep sense of sorrow and a desire to end his own life, stating, "I shall ascend my funeral pile triumphantly and exult in the agony of the torturing flames." The novel concludes with the creature disappearing into the Arctic darkness, leaving his fate uncertain. Key characters and relationships. Victor Frankenstein. Victor is the novel's tragic protagonist, a gifted scientist whose obsession with creating life leads to his downfall. His relationship with the creature is central to the novel, as it reflects themes of responsibility, guilt, and the consequences of playing God. Victor's failure to care for his creation results in the destruction of his family and his own mental and physical deterioration. The creature, often referred to as Frankenstein's monster, is a complex character who evolves from an innocent being into a vengeful figure. His relationship with Victor is one of creator and abandoned child, filled with betrayal and bitterness. The creature's eloquence and reflections on his condition challenge readers to sympathize with him, despite his horrific actions. Elizabeth Lavenza. Elizabeth is Victor's cousin and fiancée, representing the ideal of domestic femininity and moral virtue. Her relationship with Victor is one of deep affection and loyalty, but she ultimately becomes a victim of Victor's ambition and the creature's revenge. Elizabeth's death symbolizes the destruction of innocence and the domestic happiness that Victor sacrificed for his scientific pursuits. Robert Walton. Walton is the frame narrator of the novel, whose letters bookend the story. His ambition mirrors Victor's, and his relationship with Victor serves as a cautionary parallel. Walton's interactions with Victor and the creature emphasize the novel's themes of isolation, the pursuit of knowledge, and the moral implications of scientific discovery. Henry Clerval. Henry is Victor's best friend and a foil to his character. While Victor is consumed by his scientific pursuits, Henry embodies the romantic ideal of the creative and compassionate individual. His death at the hands of the creature represents the loss of innocence and highlights the destructive consequences of Victor's actions. Themes: ambition and the pursuit of knowledge. Frankenstein explores the dangers of ambition and the pursuit of knowledge without moral consideration. Victor's desire to overcome the natural limits of human existence leads him to create life, but his failure to take responsibility for his creation results in tragedy. The novel questions the ethical boundaries of scientific exploration and the consequences of hubris, isolation and alienation. Both Victor and the creature experience profound isolation throughout the novel. Victor isolates himself from his family and friends in his obsessive pursuit of scientific achievement, while the creature is alienated from society due to his appearance. The novel suggests that this isolation leads to destructive behavior, whether through Victor's neglect of his creation or the creature's turn to violence. Responsibility and consequences. The theme of responsibility is central to the novel, as Victor's refusal to care for his creation sets off a chain of events that lead to death and despair. The novel raises questions about the responsibilities of creators toward their creations and the consequences of abandoning those responsibilities. Victor's downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the need to consider the moral implications of one's actions. Nature versus nurture. Shelley explores the debate between nature and nurture through the creature's development. Initially benevolent, the creature's turn to violence is a result of his treatment by society and Victor's abandonment. The novel suggests that the creature's actions are not inherently evil, but rather a response to the cruelty he faces, highlighting the importance of environment and upbringing in shaping one's character. Gothic elements. Frankenstein is a quintessential Gothic novel, filled with dark, brooding settings, a sense of foreboding, and the exploration of taboo subjects like the creation of life. The novel's atmosphere is marked by its use of supernatural elements, the sublime landscapes of the Swiss Alps and the Arctic, and the exploration of human limits, all contributing to the novel's tension and emotional depth. Conclusion. Frankenstein remains a profound exploration of the dangers of ambition, the responsibilities of creation, and the consequences of isolation. Mary Shelley's novel is a rich text for GCSE English literature, offering deep insights into human nature, scientific ethics, and the Gothic tradition. Through its complex characters, haunting themes, and evocative language, Frankenstein continues to challenge and captivate readers, making it an essential study for understanding the moral and philosophical questions that arise when humanity seeks to transcend its natural boundaries.